The robots are coming. Scratch that. They're probably already here. And what's your game plan as accounting, bookkeeping, CPA professional? The brutal truth for accounting leaders, AI literacy isn't optional anymore. It's now the number one skill you need to master. I've got a panel discussion coming up and we're talking about, is AI the most disruptive thing since a spreadsheet? Probably is. Could be cloud. You could throw a few other things in there. But what's sure is that if you are treating AI as tomorrow's problem, you're already behind the curve. It's pervasive now in all kinds of roles across pretty much every job. Consider this scenario. Senior accountants spending hours each week reconciling transactions, chasing after compliance, documentation. And now imagine competitors of that senior accountant automating those tasks, freeing up their talent, their resource, their time to advise clients, analyze trends, strategically grow revenue. Who wins that game? It's obvious, isn't it? According to a McKinsey report, nearly 80% of organizations already use AI in at least one core function. And it plays really well, doesn't it, into the routine tasks like data entry, transaction classification, reconciliation, their classic AI automated accounting functions. A 2023 OpenAI study highlighted that automation could impact nearly 100% of tasks performed by accountants and auditors. Now, I'm going to change that in just a moment because there is some hope. But what this means is that no accountants can assume that they're indispensable. We are all vulnerable in one way or another, particularly as we go higher up. Why? Because they're the most expensive accountants in there. And if you're just managing a client portfolio, yeah, it could be high-level clients, but high-level audits now, it's suffering the AI, ChatGPT, whatever you want to call it, curse. So the mind bender is, and this is where it gets a little bit interesting for accounting professionals. ChatGPT crushes elite law exams. It writes better essays than grad students to the point where even professors can't tell a difference. We know it's passed the CPA and chartered accounting qualifications. Yet, more than 2 years into the generative AI journey, most jobs haven't vanished. They said it would, wouldn't they? They said we'd be overtaken by the robots, but no, a lot of jobs are still in place. And even for accountants, clerks, legal secretaries, those lower entry jobs, we've not seen significant job losses. We've seen some, but not significant. Now, roles like creative writing and content marketing, things like that, programmers as well, they've experienced sharp declines in employment. And you can see why that might be, because things like ChatGPT are great at generating ideas and writing content like that. They're also good at the very discrete tasks like coding and programming. But the disparity and the hope for accounting professionals is this, and this comes from research by Meta, who own Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. AI struggles not with the intellectual complexity of tasks or the specialized skills, but with messy workflows and multidimensional tasks, jobs that require juggling multiple pieces of information, adapting to changing environments, complex emotional responses, navigating unclear goals. All of this stuff remains very challenging for AI. It doesn't matter how good the robots get, that's the human side of the work. So think about your day as an accountant. You're likely multitasking, you're responding to unexpected client needs, you're managing teams, you're managing emotions, you're managing remote hybrid workers, you're dealing with shifting priorities. That stuff's messy, and that's good because AI could never get to grips with that. And this chaos is not easily automated. This is the point. The threat remains, though, because roles that are more structured, more repetitive, more clear-cut, they're the ones that are falling to AI-driven solutions. There is hope, but there's also a challenge. The accounting profession, we know, is already feeling the impact. Either side of the pandemic starting in 2020, more than 300,000 US accountants and auditors left their roles. That's a 16% reduction. Now, why they left their roles? AI wasn't big then, but the relevancy of audit and the tech that is around to deal with tasks like audit and tax, that stuff was already coming in. Private equity, investor-driven restructurings amplify this trend. Significant layoffs have been in accounting. We've talked about it in the show. The big four have been laying off lots of people. There was a lot of overhiring and bringing in excess capacity to keep the lights on, keep clients going in complex environments. That all happened during COVID, but we know that the layoffs have been coming. Grant Thornton's recent decision to lay off 150 US employees after one PE investment shows how quickly and drastically things can change. That was one investment, Grant Thornton. So what do we learn from this? AI is absorbing the repetitive lower level tasks, the grunt work, the grind grind work. And the human side of accounting, that role is changing. It's evolving. The critical point is accountants are not losing their jobs to AI. They're losing them to other accountants who can leverage AI more effectively. So your job as an accounting professional, particularly as a leader, is to proactively get ahead of this, redefine your role, redefine your team's role, focus on the stuff that AI can't do. Yes, you've got to be AI literate, and I'll give you some takeaways in a moment, but embrace the messy, unpredictable side of your role. And this is what clients really value. You might call it client advisory services. You might call it consulting work, project work. You might call it fractional work, but you are getting under the hood, the bonnet of the business and doing the messy work and managing people who are also complex, emotional creatures. So shift your talents and your development from the routine number crunching stuff to the strategic analysis. Yes, AI could do a little bit of that as well, but bringing in the emotional side, those dynamics, the strategic analysis, the advisory services, that's going to ensure that AI models remain transparent and accountable and fixed on the structural stuff that they're really, really good at. You're going to have to invest in AI literacy. Just because AI doesn't deal well with the human side of things doesn't mean you're not going to be redundant, doesn't mean you're not indispensable. So AI literacy, this involves you training up in generating scripts, prompt engineering. You've got to be able to spot anomalies that a machine might miss. AI is great at analyzing data, we know that, but there's anomalies that sometimes only the human eye can do, particularly in the mess. And that's going to give you an edge. And you've got to communicate with clients who are skeptical and overwhelmed by technology. Explaining that is not something that AI will do very well. So you do have an edge here. And successful firms, we find, they're not just adopting AI technology, they're rewiring their whole approach, particularly with recruitment and the way they're developing people. So AI has got to be embedded in your firm's decision-making strategy with human oversight, validating and enhancing the AI outcomes. I did a post recently on how AI might be taking away your personal brand and your unique voice. Some accountants are putting content out there that is very ChatGPT driven, but you can lose a lot of authenticity in that. And that's the human side of this. Nobody can replace you and your personality. So as we wrap up this episode, and this is the Accounting Influencers podcast, you know that. I'm Rob Brown, your host. We run a show to help accountants be more influential, build their reputation, build their edge so they can perform better as leaders and professionals in their accounting roles. So here are your actionable takeaways. Number one, if you're a leader, prioritize AI for yourself and at all levels, people above you and people below you. Even if your clients can get more savvy with AI, that makes for better vocabulary between you and better conversations. If you're mid-career, you should be proactively upskilling in data analytics and AI tools. Not necessarily doing it yourself, but knowing how these tools work and knowing how the analysis works and project managing and prompt engineering, that kind of stuff. Number three, if you're early career, position yourself as an AI savvy advisor who delivers strategic value beyond the traditional accounting tasks. If I can pass an accounting qualification, then you've got to go above and beyond what that can do. So at entry level and at mid level, you know what you've got to do. And even at the highest level, you are leading by example. People are looking at you to see where you are adding value and what are you doing to brace yourself against the AI wave. Number four, embrace the messy, unpredictable aspects of accounting. Now, accountants don't do that naturally. They like binary outcomes, right and wrongs, black and white, but there's a lot of shadow in accounting, and I mean this in the best possible way. There's a lot of unpredictable aspects of accounting, client interactions, managing teams, problem solving under uncertain and changing conditions, shifting priorities, shifting economics, shifting regulations. These are all things that are less likely to be replaced by artificial intelligence, and hence you're going to stay safe if you can stay on the right side of the messy and predictable aspects of your role. And number five, and finally, embrace collaboration and teamwork and develop those skills, because the more complex and interactive your workflows, the safer your role, your job, your career becomes from automation and artificial intelligence. So to conclude, AI is not replacing accountants, it's redefining them. And the question for you isn't whether you will adapt and your firm will adapt, it's how quickly you will lead the change. We've said it. If you are thinking that it's tomorrow's problem, then you're already way behind the curve. Thank you for listening to the Accounting Influencers podcast, another episode down. You can tune into us on YouTube, on all podcasting channels. And if you are an accountant that wants to build your reputation and personal brand inside your firm and outside in the external business community or any niches that you're working with, then reach out to me on LinkedIn and let me share with you the service that we've got where we interview you monthly a couple of times to create thought leadership and LinkedIn pieces and articles and video snippets that are branded and captioned with all the great things you want to say and the wonderful stories that you can tell about the fantastic work that you're doing. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on the next episode.